simmer down.
Well, you don't
Change our relationship.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the October 16th, 2025 meeting of the Olentangy School Board. I'll call this meeting to order. Mr. Jenkins, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Lester?
Here.
Dr. Dabrico?
Here.
Dr. Wallach?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here. All right. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Ms. Schreiber is walking up right now. Somebody got stuck behind a train, so we'll get started here. I don't believe there are any amendments to the agenda.
None.
Hearing none. All right, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Mr. Jenkins.
Just a second. I had to. She's not adding.
Okay, you're fine.
All right, I'll have to fix this later. It's not adding Ms. Schreiber yet.
It's a well-oiled machine whenever we go on the road here. So.
Mr. Lester?
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico?
Yes.
Dr. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Time for the board president's report. These are always our favorite meetings. Whenever we get to recognize the amazing work that our students do and get to have so many people here at our board meetings to hear some of the work that we do. So we're so appreciative that you came out on what is a beautiful fall evening. You're spending it inside under the lights. So we hope that we can get you back out there. You are always free to stay for the entire board meeting. We have lots of great stuff. We're going to be talking about enrollment projections and facilities and stuff. Very few people stay when we have these meetings afterwards. So you are certainly welcome to, but you are also free to leave after the recognition portion and get on with the rest of your evening. In terms of the board president's report, as many of you know, we have a no new millage bond issue that's on the ballot this fall. And for the past couple of months, we've been talking about various facets of that. And in the board president's report, usually what I've been trying to do is talk about a question that I've heard when I've been out talking to the community about that so that we can, either demystify things or explain things, because school funding in Ohio is just ridiculously complex. So we really try to be as clear as we can. But since we have a whole lot of people here tonight, I thought what I might do is just give a very brief discussion about what the bond issue is, how it works, so that you all can take that information and do with it what you will. Our job as a board is never to tell you how to vote. It's just to give you the information so that you can make an informed decision. And then, we adjust based on what that decision is. So let me start here. Olentangy is growing, and it's growing rapidly. Over the past decade, we've seen average new students of about 500 new students every single year. Over the next decade, we're expecting 400 to 500 students every single year. That's when you think about, our elementary schools are about 625 students. That's 3/4 of an elementary school worth of new students every single year. That puts a bit of a strain on the system, and it requires us to think about what are the steps that we're going to take to respond to that. Some of those can be temporary, some of those can be temporary, like the use of trailers. Some of those can be permanent, like the construction of new schools. Trailers are things that we've used at some of our elementary schools. Indian Springs has those right now. Cheshire has had them. Some other ones have had them over time. They're extraordinarily expensive. They cost hundreds of thousands of dollars each year, and we're just renting them. That puts a strain on our operational budget. So as we know that we are having more students come in, so that we are going to have a sustained need for that over time, that's when we start to look at, do we need to construct new schools? Now, as many of you may recall, last year, we had a combined levy and bond issue on the ballot that would have allowed for 5 new schools, a high school, 3 elementaries, and a middle school, along with some millage to pay operating costs for all of those. Because as we grow, our operating costs grow as well, and we have to have funding for that. That measure failed. And given the way that the district is growing, I think this board could have reasonably come back to the community with a very similar measure that fall or this spring, but we didn't do that. what we did is we took some time to listen to the community, to engage, to talk through different options. We know that people are having trouble with property taxes, especially in the face of state funding, where we're really not getting a whole lot from the state, and the state's kind of decreasing the share over time, which puts more of an impact on the local property owner. So we tried to think of ways that we could try to manage the growth, try to forestall the additional operating asks for as long as we can, but still have a safe and supportive environment for kids to grow up in. This measure is our attempt to do that. This is a partial approach. It's not going to solve all of the growth-related issues that we're experiencing if it passes. But it would allow us to build 2 new schools, a high school and an elementary school. And it would do so as a no new millage bond. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people sort of go, what are we talking about? What does this actually mean? So I'll try to explain it as briefly as I can. Keep in mind, I was an English major, not a finance major, so I'll use a lot of flowery words, but hopefully I get the point across. A no new millage bond, when you construct new schools, much like when you're getting a mortgage on your house, you need money to be able to pay for that. Most people don't have enough money lying around to buy a new house. Same thing with the district. We don't just have the money lying around to construct new schools, especially because they're really expensive to build. The way we do that is we sell municipal bonds, but we have to go to the voters to get approval to do that. So a bond issue allows the district to sell these bonds to get money to be able to pay for construction and then pay it off over time, much the way that you would do with a mortgage for your house. Our estimate for these, the new high school and the elementary school and related projects is that's about $235 million. Schools are expensive, right? They're very big facilities. They cost a whole lot of money. And then when voters approve that, it gives the district the ability, but it does not require the district to collect additional millage to be able to pay that over time. So when you go to the ballot, when you look at this, it will say 1.77 mils, that the district could collect 1.77 mils, and that would be our right by law to do that. However, debt service millage, the millage that you use to pay this off over time, it does not have an offset like operating millage does, meaning that as more people move into the district, as property values grow, it's not reduced accordingly. So as more people move in, that generates more money. Now, 2 years ago, this district was collecting 7.5 mils of debt service, right? 7.5 mils. So that, that you do the calculation, you figure out how much that is for your house. But what we've seen with the increase in property values and as more people move in is that was more than enough money than we needed. We didn't need that much to pay off our debt service. So over the past 2 years, this board acted proactively to reduce that. Today, the debt service millage is 6 mils. That results in a savings of a couple $100s for the average property owner that you're not paying because we proactively reduced that. And what we realized is that those 6 mils, keeping it at that level, going forward with where the expected property increases and all the people moving in, will be more than sufficient to not only pay off our existing debt service, but the new debt service for these new schools if this passes. So that's what we mean when we say no new millage. We are able to keep the tax rate steady and still finance the construction of these new schools so that the tax rate doesn't go up. That's the idea behind this. It's an attempt to not increase the tax rate on the community and still build these new schools. Now again, this is a partial measure. It's not going to address all of the growth in the district. We're going to have to continue to think of ways to do it. But this is this board's response to some of the things that we heard in response to the last levy and trying to find that pathway forward that keeps costs as low as we can on the community for as long as we can. I realize that this is all a little bit complex, and when you start talking about millage and debt service and all this stuff, people's eyes sort of cross and they tune out a little bit. But we're happy to answer questions about this. There's a lot of information on the district webpage. You can always reach out to any of us, to Mr. Jenkins, our treasurer, to Mr. Meyer, our superintendent. There's a page on the district website. We're not trying to trick anybody. We're not trying to hide anything. These are complex topics, but we're trying to explain them as best we can. So we encourage you to to do your research, to find out for yourself. We encourage you to vote. However you're going to vote, we encourage you to vote regardless. And we just ask for your consideration as we're moving forward. So that's my attempt to do that very, very, very quickly. I'll be around after the board meeting too to answer any questions if anybody sticks around. Again, I kind of doubt everybody will, but that's fine. So, but you can always feel free to reach out to us. In terms of committee updates, so we had the mental health committee last night. This is a committee that the board started a few years ago to really look at the mental health services that are offered in the community and in the district and try to think about ways to make them even more effective. We bring together administrators, board members, teachers, counselors, parents at all different levels of the district, and students from each of our high schools and OASIS to really think through those issues. We had a really great discussion about ways that we can provide like targeted support for different groups of people in the district, whether it's parents or students. I'm thinking about additional types of discussion groups where we can start to destigmatize some things and really get it in a really focused way as part of some of these discussion groups. So more to come there. That was that. Have we had
facilities met? We'll be discussing those items later in today's meeting as far as the enrollment projections for the next many, many years.
Yeah.
And facilities master plan, which is a result of several months of the facilities committee working on the plan and utilization and the needs of our buildings as they age as well.
That's great. Yeah.
So just not everybody is a student of district organization. That's okay. So we have various board committees that are made up of just citizens that really want to just serve and give us their free help. And these are people that are experts in that area. So for facilities, we have people that understand how things are built. They can help us realize cost savings and a number of folks, and they meet and they bring recommendations to the board for our consideration. And it's a big deal because it helps us avoid thinking about things all the same way. It gives us other perspectives on how to solve and address the problems. There's our district faces finance and audit, school advocacy committee, mental health and wellness. I'm probably forgetting somebody.
Professional development, low professional
Yes,
development.
that one too.
Yeah, so that's a nice call out. If anybody's ever interested in serving on a board committee, we're always happy to have help. It doesn't pay anything, but the people are great. So good. Any other committees? I don't think that we had any other committee meetings since then. All right, so now we're going to move to the Student Academic Achievement Awards. Dr. Dabrico will be emceeing that, and everybody will come up, and then you'll come up and get a picture with Mr. Meyer and myself. I'm sorry you don't have better people to take pictures with, but it is what it is. So, all right, so we'll get that started.
Maybe we can all get along. I will use my classroom management skills to get everyone ready, all the students ready. Thank you for your good behavior. See, use positive feedback. Everybody jumps in line, so thank you. Tonight, we salute Olentangy students who are outstanding scholars and have achieved recognition in the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program. A total of 96 students from Olentangy's 4 high schools earned a commended or semifinalist status as a result of their performance on the 2024 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. 69, glad it wasn't 67. 69 Olentangy students have qualified as commended scholars for the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program. Most of them are here this evening. These students are among approximately 1.6 million high school students across the country who entered the program by taking the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. These students placed among the top 50,000 highest scorers. Those named commended students have demonstrated outstanding potential for academic success. Congratulations to our commended scholars. As your name is called, please proceed across the stage to have your picture taken with Superintendent Todd Meyer and Board President Brandon Lester. And the students have already pre-forgiven me for any errors on my part in pronouncing their names, so thank you. From Olentangy Berlin High School, Ethan Camp. Ishan Chahande. Wyatt Nelson. Okay. Sean Thomas. Andrew Wixon. From Olentangy High School, Gannon Becker. Ethan Boudet. Gabriel Bush. Abigail Custodio. Reith Kambam. Srinidhi Krishnamurthy. Emma Libby. Reina Muchuvitil. Anna Myers. Jay Patton. Subikasha Sriram. Caitlin Strom. Oh, it's already screenshot. Okay, thank you. Mithila Upnawenchar. From Olentangy Liberty High School, Varsha Banamakula. Kevin Chin. Sahil Gandhi. Michelle Huang. Niveditha Kadiam. Tyler Knobel. Alex Kilcheski. Mirnank Karan. Sovan Lingam. Varun Nandakumar. Jack Patras. Anvanish Prakash. Abigail Roll. Shreya Shaw. Monisha Tambi. Shivam Viora. From Olentangy Orange High School, Mayor Banta. Sahil Kandari. Bennett Lammy. Malin McGrainer. Ayana Metha. In addition, 27 Olentangy students have qualified as semifinalists. These academically talented high school seniors have an opportunity to continue in the 71st annual competition from some 6,930 National Merit Scholarships worth $26 million that will be offered next spring. Those Olentangy students named 2026 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists, which represent less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors. Here with us tonight are, from Olentangy Berlin High School, Philip Burton Boone. Ryan Liu. Akil Upadrasta. Danielle Bay. Bhabana Balamugaran. Satvik Puchariju. Allison Wiley. From Olentangy Liberty High School, Alden Brinkman. Luke McFarland. Shoriya Mishra. Thomas Wu. From Olentangy Orange High School, Eden Beal. Nikhil Beamy Reddy. Ojis Godha. Savya Majmudar. Harshitha Paul Nese Raja. Saeed Siva Kumar. Aiden Tang. Ben Whitehead. Devin Zhao. Congratulations to these outstanding students, their families, and teachers.
Okay, you are all free to go if you would like. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yep, this is on, so I gotta go a little further. I can't see the PowerPoint. I'm gonna move.
We dropped about 17 grand.
All right, I think the last few people are filing out, and some of you stayed. This is amazing. We actually had people that stayed, so thank you so much. Yeah, that's great.
Big old group over there.
Yeah, look at that. Are you guys doing this for class or something? Is there like a class requirement? Or, okay.
Wait,
Yes.
do I see for
Okay.
one?
Dylan, is this for class? Thank you.
Okay. That's all right. That's all right.
Mr. Laflamme, is this Mr. Laflamme's class?
He's back there, Mr.
Oh, there he
Laflamme's
is.
back
Hi.
there.
That's good. We will take class requirements. We're just glad to have people. Well, we're going to make it a good meeting for you all. So we're going to move right into our facility master plan. This ties into some of the things that we were just talking about. So we'll turn it over to Mr. Gordon.
Good evening. It was a great celebration of our students. Now we move on, and before I get started, I want to also celebrate our community volunteers, because my presentation tonight and Dr. Fetty's presentation regarding the facilities, enrollment projections, and the master plan is a lot of work that committee's been doing for years, and really the facilities master plan is a culmination of all the discussions that the committee's had. Not just this year, but in previous years as we look at facilities and continue to grow. One of the things that we've continued to grow is adding buildings has been natural, and really what we've tried to look at now is we're closing out the last couple of decades of our growth is the support facilities as well, and all of those things that go in, not just our school buildings. So, with that,
Mr. Gordon, do you mind speaking into the microphone a little more? I think they tried to turn up the volume, but they said the issues that you got to get a little closer to the microphone.
Okay.
Or it got turned off?
How's that? Is that better?
A little
Yeah.
bit. You might want to put
Is it
your mouth
on?
on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. How's that?
That's better.
All right.
Thank you.
As I was saying, this plan just not only encompasses the school buildings, it really now is taking a look at all those other support facilities and then maintenance of the buildings that we currently have and facilities that we currently have. You see here, this is a comprehensive roadmap of our next 20 years, really looking at our enrollment growth and our facility growth. As I mentioned, not just school buildings, but also the growth of the support facilities. The Facilities Committee, for those that aren't aware, and a lot of members here in the community probably may not even be aware of them, it's a group of community volunteers that work in construction, architects, engineers, construction folks, all of those things. They bring their expertise and have been advising the district for years, going back to I believe it was formed right after Wyandotte Run was built, when we knew that we were going to have a lot of buildings. The community had a lot of input starting from then on, and has really been instrumental in saving the district a lot of money, and then of course planning and now into the future. The things that the committee evaluated really was looking at the enrollment growth, obviously, and then really spent some time looking at, do we expand our existing schools? Do we add on, does it make sense to add on to an elementary, a middle school, or a high school? And then the size of our schools, and then focus on maintaining the quality education that we have, as well as the other opportunities for kids. If you look at the chart there on the right of the screen, Olentangy already has some of the largest schools in enrollment in the district, or in the state. As compared to elementary, you see there that the state average is 452 versus Olentangy's target size for an elementary is 625. That gap grows even further at the middle school level, as you can see, and then at the high school level, we're more than double the size of other high schools in the state of, this average high school in the state of Ohio. So while we have had good results educationally, we're able at that size that our target 1,800, and as we've grown a little over that, to offer the student experiences and the educational experience we want our students to have. But there is a limit to that, and that's really the things that the Facilities Committee looked at, is what we could do if we added on, what would that do to us? And as already being some of the larger facilities, it just didn't make sense, as well as when you looked at some of the sites, adding on was difficult, and in a lot of cases, the cost to add additions in 2 or 3 locations on a building actually exceeded the cost of just building a new building. So all of those factors were taken into consideration as we went through and continue to plan for future buildings. Elementary schools, you see again on the chart on the right, and Dr. Fetty will cover this further on our growth. We're continuing to get students and continuing as well at the elementary level. Immediate needs, elementary 18, and that's due to overcrowding, and that's part of the discussion that's ongoing in the community now. And then if we don't continue to add these elementaries, we're going to continue to have to add trailers at different buildings throughout, starting on the west side and then working our way across the whole district. And then future needs over the next 10 years is elementary 19 through 21. In the outer decades beyond 10 years, there may be another elementary or 2 coming up. Right now with the elementaries, we looked at the 10 years. Middle schools, the projected growth really is sustained going on. We did a deep analysis, and we'll talk a little more about this with Shanahan, at the middle school level, because we were trying to work whether we need another middle school, a renovation of the existing buildings we have, a replacement of Shanahan. What was needed, and what we established was, looking at our student potential analysis report that's done by our consultant Wolpert, what we found is we will need a 7th middle school. Not only will we need a 7th middle school, we'll need a 7th middle school once it's built, extending out beyond 40 years. So going to build out and beyond, we would need that facility. And why it was important to establish that number was, in evaluating what we did with Shanahan and a 7th middle school, it really would drive the decision on how we evaluate it. If we only needed a 7th middle school for 10 years or 20 years, then you might spend a little more time talking about an addition or what you do with the renovation. But once we established the need for that long term, that's where Middle School 7, which then drove the conversation around Shanahan Middle School, which we'll jump to now. And what the discussion there was, again, if we only needed it for a short period of time, we could continue to put funds into doing some updates and doing some renovations. Shanahan has had, it's been added on too many times. It has a challenging footprint. It's aging. We did quite a few renovations in the late 90s, early 2000s. Even those renovations now are over 20 years old. So looking at that, and then if you remember, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, we went through a process of approving to participate in a program with the OFCC to evaluate our needs there. As part of that program, the OFCC came in, and OFCC is the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. They came in, did an analysis of all of our buildings, and in this case specifically Shanahan Middle School, and they put an evaluation of the cost to renovate that building versus build new. And after reviewing that and the expertise from the Facilities Committee, we really found it would be more cost effective to replace Shanahan as opposed to do another renovation, because every piece of it, even though it had been renovated several times and again substantially in early 2000, around 2006 or 7, those were now outdated, and with all of those systems even replaced then, with a need for a Middle School 7 for 40 years and beyond, we'd have to make all those renovations and updates again. Again, it just wasn't cost effective to do that. So long term, we're going to continue to renovate and not renovate, but update and maintain Shanahan with the goal of doing that to 5 to 10 years, and then evaluating how we replace that long term at future time. High school expansion, as we all know, we're looking hard at what our needs for the high school 5. Current average high school enrollment is over 1,900 students are in forecasted enrollment, and average for high school 2033-34 is 2,192 students. Now, I spoke earlier about our target enrollment for high school at 1,800. The original thought when that floor plan was put together was that those were designed for 1,600. As we've grown, we found that at 1,800 we can still do that really well, and we can still provide the opportunities and the education. But as you start getting up around the 2,000 and over, it really becomes challenging, and that's what we're experiencing, and we'll continue to experience in some high schools. Again, by 2033-34, we'll average 2,100, almost 2,200 students. With the addition of the 5th high school, our average enrollment would be just between 1,700 and 1,800 students. And just like I mentioned with the middle school, that's not just for a short period of time. That's long-term, going 40, 50 years out before our peak hits, and then we level out and continue on. So that's not a short-term need for that high school. That's a long-term need to keep those between 1,700 and 1,800 students. The advantages of the fifth high school as well is, again, the cost. You start doing additions to 4 high schools, it actually costs less to build new. You have one redistricting when you open a high school versus if we don't have that fifth high school open, we will be constantly redistricting every few years, because while the average enrollment would be 2,192 students with 4 high schools, they're not placed around the district the way that we would need them to balance that out. So even if that was an acceptable enrollment number, they aren't all in the same location. So we would be constantly redistricting and redistributing students around. And that would impact every high school, not just Berlin High School is the highest growth area. It wouldn't just be pulling them out of Berlin High School. Every high school would constantly need to be redistricted to keep those balanced. Specialized programs, I had mentioned the need down the road to replace Shanahan Middle School. At Shanahan Middle School, we have the OASIS program and the preschool program, as well as we have the STEM program that's in another building located over by the board office. When we replace Shanahan, we'll have to find a home for that, either include addition on a new middle school or a separate facility to accommodate those. And at that time, we would be able to also take a hard look at whether we want to replace move STEM over into that same building. The program that we have currently, there's a lot of challenges. Building was not built for what we're doing there, so we have made it work. We've done a lot of modifications, but we have some limitations as well. And the size of the classrooms that we're using really to perform as lab spaces are tight. We have electrical and plumbing challenges as we continue to modify that building. So we'll continue to evaluate the need for that, as well as other support facilities across the district. And those are things like what our needs are for another bus facilities. We continue to add those students. Our ridership will continue to go up on the number of students we're transporting and the number of buses we can fit at each space, as well as taking a hard look at technology, growth at our administrative offices. All of those things will factor in, not necessarily all separate buildings, but just how do we accommodate that growth in what buildings as we continue to modify and build. We've talked about this quite a bit over the last decade, and we've had it twice now. We've passed PI levies for our capital needs. As our buildings have continued to grow and age, we have had increasing cost on the side to maintain. We have a 20-year capital plan that we look hard at the age of our buildings and the growth as we add buildings. We update that every 3 to 5 years, as well as a 5-year capital plan that we look at, that we adjust annually. And I bring that to the board usually around December, January timeframe. And that is more of a closer snapshot, talking about upcoming projects for that year, as well as projections for the next 5 years, which weighs into our funding needs as we consider our ballot initiatives and other funding sources for these repairs. All of these things, when you think about the capital improvements, buildings like your house, you've got the roof you have to maintain. There comes a point when you have to change your furnace. You have to update your sidewalks and your asphalt, your hot water tanks, all of those things. Schools work the same way and have all of those same expenses we all experience in our homes. As we look at our long-term capital improvement needs, and this takes into account all of our current buildings, we have a forecasted PI collections of $161 million based on our PI levy now. And with inflation over the next 20 years factored in, our needs are about $402 million. So as you can see there, we currently have a PI shortfall of $240 million long term as everything ages. We're really starting to have to put that money in. We've either funded these through PI levies, which we've been fortunate to get, as well as additions on our bonds. When we've done the bonds, we have added PI shortfalls or capital planning shortfall in there to do some of the extra work we need, like until we can fully fund the PI, and that's items we focus those on: roofs, buses, and our HVAC equipment, the 3 largest categories. In conclusion, I mentioned in the beginning, it's a comprehensive master plan. It really takes a hard look at supporting the mission of the district for our educational excellence. It's going to continue to require community support and financial investment. We talked about the new facilities as well as maintaining our existing facilities. We definitely are going to need the community to help us support and accomplish those goals. So again, I thank the Facilities Committee for their time volunteering at the committee, and especially working on this document and pulling all of our discussions from the last several years together.
Great.
And one other, I'm sorry, I'll take questions, and I have one other item to mention.
Any questions?
I can go last.
Okay. All right.
I don't have questions. I just wanted to, again, appreciate our Facilities Committee, and one of our members is here in the audience today, so thank you for coming and for all the work that you and all your fellow committee members put into it. You know, I've been on the Facilities Committee since I started in January of 24, going in knowing zero about school construction or, you know, how you guys determine these, and I've been so impressed by the expertise of the people in the room, the really thoughtful discussions. You know, this discussion about Shanahan has been going on all of this calendar year, I believe, if not before that, and really thinking about all the different options. You know, we're not tunnel vision. This is the only way that we're going to do things. You know, people have different opinions and they bring them in, and we, you know, I've observed the committee really evaluate all different, like the additions. How much does it cost? What's it going to look like if we want to do additions on these schools versus building a new school? Like all these sorts of options to really, at the end of the day, save the taxpayers as much money as possible while giving people the educational space and room for growth that we need because of the growth in the district. So just wanted to say that I'm appreciative, and that, you know, this is reflective of a committee of people with diverse viewpoints and who have considered all different options when it comes to this particular plan that was come by consensus at the end of the day.
Yes, and thank you. And two things. Mr. Frank Eisenhower is our committee chair. He's here in the audience tonight to support us with this, as well as Dr. Fetty's presentation. And one thing I neglected to mention when I talked about our discussions and should thank is our administrators, because we have brought administrators in.
Yes.
Ms. Baker from Berkshire Middle School, who's had the highest middle school enrollment. She came in with their staff, and then our Vince Titilio from our curriculum department really talked about when that middle school was at 1,200 to 1,300 students, how that impacted. So that's part of the consideration Facilities Committee had, and we continue to do that. And that's what I appreciate about it, is bringing all viewpoints. It's not just the construction viewpoint, it's from an academic standpoint as well.
Yeah.
And the meetings are all, all of these can you hear me okay? Yeah. All of these meetings are open to the public. So folks can come and participate. Not participate, I'm sorry. But folks can get questions, and quite honestly, they can. I know there's a formal procedure, but it's not like you're gaveling people out if they have a legitimate question about something. And I think that's important to know, that people can hear the data that's brought to you and the way people work through the decision making. A couple questions. Ohio School Facilities, what it used to be called, has doled out $14 billion. That's a B. That's a lot of zeros over the last few decades. How much has Olentangy received for new construction?
Olentangy has not received or utilized any funds from the OFCC.
That's a nice way of saying no money we've gotten from the state.
Correct.
So we pay tax dollars through state income tax, all this stuff, but we haven't gotten one penny for the fastest growing school district in Ohio. Thank you.
You said you had a couple questions.
I don't want to blow up the mic again.
Another question? I just want to thank Mr. Gordon, and I also want to thank the committee and community members for the work that they do, because I don't know who said it, one of the board members, maybe Dr. Dabico, they serve for free because they want to invest time into the community to help us make decisions which impact, and we have a lot of students here, at the end of the day, impact student experience. In Olentangy, we're very thoughtful in how we go about this and how we bring recommendations forward. And again, you know, Mr. Lester, you said at the beginning, we continue to grow. That's a big rock for us as far as a huge challenge. And because we continue to grow, we have to find ways to continue to accommodate the growth. And, you know, we're looking at this bond issue that's coming up November 4th, short term, to construct 2 buildings. But as Mr. Gordon articulated here, there's a lot of work and a lot of things for us to think about as far as the future of the district and how we're going to continue to manage that. So we for sure appreciate the committee and those who serve on all of the board committees, but as well as the community who continues to support what we do here as well.
Yeah, great.
And, sorry, go ahead, Mr.
No,
Lester.
no, it's fine.
Just one more comment. A lot of districts have to sub this out, what Mr. Gordon does, and it's incredibly expensive, and you never have a person that knows the institutional knowledge of, I mean, whether it's what's in this closet at Shanahan or where has there been efforts before in other buildings. And I think that's another way that we save taxpayers money by having someone of a high caliber like Mr. Gordon that's able to do this. And the myth is that we don't ever disagree and it's just high fives. We push back all the time, and because we're always trying to sharpen the best product to save money while still providing the top-notch product that our kids, like those kids over there, produce.
Hey, I think it's an important lesson for everybody here, right? As you learn more about this stuff, as you really dig into all of these things, they're really complex, right? These are really complex analyses and calculations and thought processes that people are going through. And we do them openly. We do them in open meetings and we really talk through it. A lot of districts aren't doing these 20-year capital plans, aren't thinking this far ahead. The goal of all of this is not to just sit around and daydream about what's happening in 20 years. The idea is, how are we doing this in an intentional way that's ultimately going to save money for the community and meet the needs of everyone? So it's a whole lot of work. I really want to stress the openness of this with all of these things. None of this is to hide anything. It's just really complex. So again, thank you, Mr. Gordon, for going over it all. Really appreciate it.
Does the bond issue cover that total shortfall?
No.
How much of it does it cover? Either a percentage or a total?
You put me on the spot.
That's okay, sorry.
I believe it was somewhere around 40 million of it, but I would have to have the list in front of me.
Yeah, 40,
to know.
of course, 40 million.
Yeah. So one other item I had just real quick is there's an easement on there as a board action item under business and facilities, and that is an easement to Delco. Delco is a lot like us. They have to continue to serve as new construction and houses developments added in the district. So we're granting Delco an easement to serve the Azar Village, and as part of that, Azar Village would have to put that in. So there's a temporary construction easement allowing them to build the water line, but it's actually a Delco water line, so Delco will hold the easement.
And I saw that they're working on some paths as part of that.
Yes, yeah, they're going to connect the pathway to the school building.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Mr. Gordon.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Myers, Superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jenkins and I are going to stay in our seats because we're going to be really brief because of the content at the board meeting tonight. Yeah. But Mr. LaFlamme is back there, so again, I want to recognize him and thank you for always assigning your students to come and attend a board meeting. So you have, that's a whole class back there. Yes, that's up to you.
Sure.
That's up to you. There you go.
Enjoy your long weekend.
That's right. That's right.
And thank you, Mr. LaFlamme. He invited me to visit his class, or no, I'm sorry, the government club, politics club last year. So that was great to engage students on how government works, including this right here.
This right here.
That's great.
Absolutely. So my report consists of superintendent action items this evening, which will consist of specific human resource items. Recommend approval of students for early graduation. We're getting that time here where we're going to be, believe it or not, today actually the end of the first quarter. So we'll end first semester here quickly. So we will, you'll see early graduation on board agendas. Recommend approval of, we have one student club and then business management and facility items, declare transportation as impractical for students, and as Mr. Gordon just mentioned, recommending approval of a MOU agreement with Azar Home Construction and a right-of-way easement on Board of Education owned property, so that's Orange Middle School and the Delco Water Company, to accommodate residential development just adjacent there to the middle school stadium. So those will be my action items. And then important dates coming up. So again, this is, I consider it kind of fall break, because we have a long weekend after the first quarter, so no school tomorrow. Teacher workday on Monday, October 20th, and then you can see coffee conversations that we've been having throughout the last couple months, and we have a few more here the last couple weeks of October. So you can see the locations there of where Mr. Jenkins and I, as well as district leadership team members, will be at these facilities across the community, and we welcome any community members who want to come and have some coffee or just a conversation about what we're doing in the schools. And then our next Board of Education meeting, regular meeting, will be Wednesday, October 29th at 6:30 back at the Olentangy administrative offices.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Jenkins.
Thanks, board members. Like Mr. Meyer, I'm just going to cover essentially what will be on the treasurer's agenda this evening. We're going to pull out the September 25th, 2025 meeting minutes as a separate item, but the other items, the monthly financials, my recommendation that those are accepted, and then the approval of the health and dental insurance rates for the 2026 plan year, which even though it begins January 1 of 2026, employees will first see those changes in their deductions in December. We obviously collect the month in advance. So those will be the items that I will cover. And at this point in time, I do not have any public participation. So we are ready to continue to move on then.
Just one quick question, Mr. Jenkins. So the health and dental rates, so there is an increase this year, but over the past 2 years, can you talk just about what happened last year and then this year and sort of the cumulative effect of it all?
Yeah, so I'll mention 3 plan years, 2024, 2025, and 2026. Going from the 2024 to the 2025 plan year, our premiums actually dropped by 3.8%. Also, in the 2024 plan year, we had a premium holiday in November of 2024, and I'll pull in 2023 because we also had a premium holiday in November of 2023. So, although we're a little disappointed that our rates are going up 6.75%, if you actually look at the 26 rates versus the 24 rates, they're only up 2.5%, because remember, in the subsequent year in between those two, they went down 3.8. Certainly our goal is for it to never go up, but 2.5% over a 2-year period of time is pretty phenomenal, especially when you then consider that all employees on the plan 2 Novembers in a row didn't even have to pay their share of the healthcare costs to our loss fund. So we continue to work hard as an insurance committee to make sure that we have a robust and well-rounded health insurance plan, but also to be sure it's economically efficient, like everything else that we do, and I think that we're succeeding pretty well, regardless of the fact that a little bit higher. The other thing to keep in mind, that 6.75% compared to the book of business for most schools is actually pretty low. A lot of schools in the last year have unfortunately had some pretty significant loss experience. A lot of schools are eclipsing in the 10% range. That's anecdotal. It's been provided to me by our broker who deals with other schools. I can't sit here and give you exact statistics, but the anecdotal evidence that he had at the schools he worked with is we're by far the lowest that he works with.
And it's important for the community to keep in mind that the premium holidays certainly benefit our employees, but they also benefit the district.
Absolutely.
And end up saving millions of dollars there.
The two premium holidays combined save the district about $6 million.
So that's a sizable chunk of change. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins. We have no public participation, so we'll move into our discussion item, which are the enrollment projections. So Dr. Fetty and Mr. Eisenhower.
Good evening. Doing all right on volume?
Oh, yeah, real good.
All right. You need me to yell at you? Just tell me. So I first want to thank, again, Mr. Eisenhower as the chair of the Facilities Committee and for their work leading this process. The Facilities Committee adopted this report on October 1st. And we asked the board to approve these projections so they could become an official document that we can use in our planning and our financial forecast and other future enrollment-based decisions. All of these numbers, a lot of the numbers either end with or start with our current year enrollment, which we use September each year for our current year, or when we talk about historical enrollment, we're looking at our September reports as well. We publish all of these monthly on our district website. Though we publish the reports monthly, enrollment changes daily. Since the September report was released, we've had our October report, and we are already plus 49 students in October over where we were in September. Last year's projected enrollment compared to this year's actual enrollment was within 0.7% of being accurate, and that's something we see each year, very accurate numbers. Going back, I just picked a random year, I picked 2020 and said, what did 2020 show us for 2025-26 when we were 1.2% off of where we actually are versus what we were predicting at the time. So this process continues to prove to be very accurate and incredibly important to our operations. So here is a look at our 10-year projected enrollment. Wolpert, who Mr. Gordon mentioned, is an agency we use to calculate the projections based on census data, live birth data, housing or real estate data. This 10-year growth projection shows an additional 3,928 students. And we're going to have to get used to saying 4,000 students over the next 10 years instead of 5,000 students over the next 10 years. So 4 is less than 5, but that's not 0. So we are still growing, but the rate of growth is slowing a little bit. When we zoom out and we look where we are this year versus where we've been the last few years and where we're headed, you can see that we continue our steady upward shed of enrollment growth. And that's the same one that we have seen here for decades. When you zoom out further, the relatively flat enrollment that this district had in the 70s and 80s is not projected to return anytime soon. We are going to continue to grow as a district. Sharon Jurowitz used to do this report as a member of the Facilities Committee, and Sharon created this process here where we would show each year's projections versus the previous year's projections to see how we fall in line. The takeaway here is that the projections allow us to make adjustments to actualities so that we can be as accurate as possible. Some years they go up a little, some years they go down a little. It's a 10-year projection, it's a forecast, it's a guess, it's a very educated guess, it's not a promise. This slide shows us some context. This is the total population of Olentangy School's boundaries. So this includes our students as well as their parents, their siblings that don't go to school, that already graduated from school, students who go to other schools but live in our district. Our district is in the midst of a 41% population increase. In the 30s, that's going to drop to about 15% in the 2030s. So we're going to continue to grow in Delaware County, but we are in the midst of a boom right now. This slide shows us the development, the new housing starts. So single-family homes on the top left, our single-family numbers are higher this year than they were last year. Our multifamily permits are lower this year than they were last year. And put them all together, we're about 100 and some housing starts fewer this year than we were the previous 12 months. But we are still building in this district. Nobody's surprised by that. Let me talk for a minute about survival ratios or grade advancement factor. A big part of the projections is figuring out the math, and this is where the math comes from. We study grade level to grade level growth each year to determine how we should apply what we know about the past to the future. In general, this set of projections that I'm presenting uses what we call the mean weighted 3-year average. Turning to preschool, we study preschool compared to kindergarten. Our best guess for pre-K is that it's going to continue to be 42% of kindergarten enrollment for all future years. Pre-K is incredibly hard to project because you have to find students who are going to turn age 3 or 4, students who do have an identified disability, students who qualify for preschool service, and then students whose parents want to send them to our preschool program 4 days a week for half day. Kindergarten enrollment we base primarily on live birth data. It's a little more accurate than some of the other ones we do because the live birth data is real data. You can see we project a small dip there in the 28-29 school year based on what the birth data showed us, but overall we still anticipate steady growth in kindergarten. Before we dive into each level, I want to take a minute to talk about utilization. Utilization is simple math of enrollment divided by capacity, regardless of a student's assigned attendance area. In the elementary level, we are pretty much at capacity now, and we're going to grow up to 114% capacity or 14% over capacity by the end of this projection. If the bond is successful in November, we are still going to be over capacity in 10 years, but 8% over as opposed to 14% over. And Mr. Gordon already discussed that we do have a anticipated need for at least 3 more elementary schools. At middle school, we are currently over capacity and growing also to 14% over capacity. At high school, we're looking at a 9% over capacity next year, growing to 24% over capacity by 2035. And if the 5th high school were to open as we've planned, the capacity would be 93% when it opens. And then the total high school capacity only grows to 100%. Looking at our elementary numbers specifically, our elementary is projected to grow from 10,960 students to 12,897 students over the next 10 years. That's an increase of 1,937 students. Almost 2,000 new elementary school students will be joining us over the next 10 years. I spoke already about utilization. Another way we look at this lens at the Facilities Committee is through capacity. Jeff talked about capacity too and how the Facilities Committee comes to those determinations. Generally, capacity is driven by student needs and available space in which to meet those needs. The biggest factors influencing our elementary capacity are state-mandated ratios in preschool and in specialized learning centers. And the enrollment of students in requiring preschool and special education services obviously drives that. Our Facilities Committee has set 625 as the elementary capacity based on those factors. The last lens we look through is a classroom need lens. The Facilities Committee takes into account the number of classrooms we have and tries to anticipate how many actual classrooms we will need. Because of the ratios I already mentioned, some classrooms can only satisfy 8 students while others can satisfy 28 students. Generally, this tells us that even if we move students from school to school as creatively as possible, at least 3 more elementary schools are still needed to accommodate our growing enrollment. At middle school, enrollment is projected to grow by 689 students over the next 10 years. Keep in mind, middle school is only 3 grades, whereas elementary is 6 grades and high school is 4 grades. Our capacity at middle school is driven also by student needs and programming to meet those needs. The committee sets our middle school capacity at 950 per school. So we look through this lens to see how much or how we can accommodate our students in the future. And then again, the projected classroom needs. Needed middle school classrooms tells us We're going to hover around maximum capacity until we go into a large classroom deficit in the 2030s at the middle school. At the bottom of the first table, I've shown the calculation with and without the 6 classroom connector at Liberty Tree Hyatts. Historically, those rooms have been used for Heights Middle School, but currently they're being used to accommodate overcrowding at Liberty Tree. The longer those rooms are used to help elementary school, the longer they're not available to help middle school. So that's a variable in this process. High school enrollment is projected to grow by 1,302 students over the next 10 years. The design capacity of our high schools is set at 1,800 students. In 10 years, we anticipate either being at 100% capacity with 5 schools, if the bond issue passes, or 24% over capacity with 4 schools if the issue is defeated. If we do not open a 5th high school soon, in 2030, all 4 high schools will be larger than Liberty High School was in 1819, which is the same year Berlin opened. Liberty was actually above 2,200 the year before that. And because we try to also accommodate student needs and interests and feelings, we allow our seniors to remain at their schools. So we have to make these decisions well in advance to be able to put students in a high school where they can stay for 4 years, if at all possible. All 4 schools would be over 2,200 by 2031. So in summary, I'm going to end by showing this utilization slide again and ask if there are any questions you'd like to ask.
Any questions?
This is more of a question for the benefit of people who may not know how the growth happens here, but what say does the school district have in whether developers build these neighborhoods and essentially allow people to move up here that contributes to this growth?
I like to think of it as we have a voice and not a vote. So Mr. Meyer and Mr. Jenkins attend township meetings, meet with various officials, meet with developers to express what is in the best interest of the school district. But at the end of the day, we have no say whatsoever in what gets developed in the district.
And I mean, this just, it highlights, it's one of these things where you look at the numbers and it seems like a lot, but when you experience it, it's even more significant, right? Because when you are this overcrowded, it affects opportunities, it affects teachers getting to know students and forging some of those relationships. I mean, all of the soft things that happen as part of the educational process get impacted by this. So, as we think about what adapting means, what managing growth in the real world means, it's not just numbers on its page, it's students' experience growing up, it's their education, it's their ability to forge those connections with teachers that might inspire them to be in a particular field or something like that. I mean, all of that becomes jeopardized when you have really significant growth like this. And that, again, I mean, ultimately this is a choice for the community about how we proceed. We have stretched in the past to 2,200 kids in a high school. It's extremely challenging, right? It has real significant impacts on those students. So it becomes, a real question of what that looks like and what the educational experience is.
Yeah, we talked at our State of the Schools about what kind of schools does our community want. You all earlier this evening recognized our National Merit semifinalists. The semifinalists, Ms. Kenny and I were doing some math, or Ms. Brunswick, we're doing some math real quick. Those represent, well, first of all, nationwide National Merit semifinalists represent 0.5% of the senior class nationally. The students you recognize represent 1.5% of the seniors in Olentangy. That's perfect proof that we're an above average district, if not a fantastic district, I would say. So what kind of school do we want?
Yeah, that's great. All right, no further questions. Thank you, Dr. Petty.
Yep.
We will now move on to our action items. So we have, first, we are doing the separate approval of the 2025 enrollment projections that we just went over. I will entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Jenkins.
Dr. Dabrico,
Yes.
Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber,
Yes.
Mr. Lester.
Yes. All right. Our next board action item is approving Andrea Vasilis as the new member of the the Wellbeing and Mental Health Committee. Ms. Vasilis is a teacher at Orange High School and was there at the meeting last night. Was just really provided amazing insights, and we're so happy to have her. Unfortunately, Dan Harris, who was one of the founding members of the committee, had to step aside due to some other responsibilities he had, so we will certainly miss him, but we're glad to have Ms. Vasilius at the committee. So I will entertain a motion to approve her as a new member of the committee.
So moved.
And a second? I will second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jenkins.
Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber,
Yes.
Mr. Lester,
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, do you want to do the minutes first and then the rest, or vice versa?
Well, actually, they're in the other order, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So do you want to present the consent action items first?
Yep, so board members this evening, just two items that I'm going to be presenting and asking you to approve with a single motion and action. Those two items are item A, which is the acceptance of the September 2025 monthly financial report. Item B, approval of the 2026 health and dental insurance rates. Again, I'm asking you to approve those two items by one single motion and vote, unless you would like to pull one of those out separately.
Would anyone like to pull those out separately? All right, hearing none, can I have a motion to approve them as a single slate of consent action items?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber,
Yes.
Mr. Lester,
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico,
Yes.
Dr. Wallach.
Yes.
Very dramatic, Dr. Devico. Now we'll move to the approval of the board meeting minutes.
Yeah,
for
so the meeting minutes from the September 25th, 2025, if you looked at your agenda originally, it was up in the consent, but there was a request to move that down so that it could be an individual item.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve this as a standalone item.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. O'Brien,
Abstain.
Ms. Schreiber,
Yes.
Mr. Lester,
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico,
Yes.
Dr. Wallach.
Yes.
All right. Very dramatic votes tonight, I swear. All right, Mr. Meyer, the superintendent consent action items.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lester. Board members, I recommend approval of the following superintendent consent action items A through G. A, specific human resource items certified staff. B, specific human resource items supplemental. C, specific human resource items classified staff. D, specific human resource items classified substitutes. E, students for early graduation. F, student clubs. And G, business and management items that were discussed earlier. I'm asking you to approve these items by one single action and vote unless you'd like to discuss any of these items separately.
Would anyone like to discuss these separately? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as a single slate of consent action items.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Mr. Jenkins.
Ms. Schreiber,
Yes.
Mr. Lester,
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico,
Yes.
Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. Lester.
Yes.
Dr. Dabrico,
Yes.
Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.